Yeah, let's talk to Juliana Olayinka, my colleague in our London studios. Juliana, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Bosun. Nice to see you.
Have you heard in the news that it's a lot more difficult to move around Lagos these days? So my level of stress has increased. And so if you find me with this cup of tea and I'm trying to sip some ginger, whatever it is, coffee or lemon, it's all about the increased level of stress in Lagos. Are you aware of that?
The hashtag Okada ban has definitely made its way into London, I can tell you, yes.
So how does Okada work in the city of London? How does it work over there?
Well, what I can tell you, Bosun, is that in London we've got the underground, we've got the overground, we have Uber plus 10 others, and we have a sustainable bus network. I know Lagos is getting there, but there are many options to get into work, I've got to tell you. It wasn't that stressful for me, although I didn't get a seat on the Central line, which was tough, but I made it in nevertheless.
Understand. Thank you. That's the nature of every cosmopolitan city in the world. Even getting seats on a train, underground or overground in London, it's not as easy as some folks may think. You need to stand for hours sometimes to make it to work. So folks think it's that easy out there in New York, in London, elsewhere. No, it's not easy. City transportation is always an issue. So let's talk about the Royal Mail earnings, which is respected today. Then they had to deal with the strike action. How is this company trying to survive?
Well, they're trying. You know, Royal Mail is a 500-year-old company for those in the UK and even those outside of the UK. It's really a household name, but they've been honest and that they've been struggling. It's been a pretty tumultuous 12 months for them. Since February last year, their shares have tumbled by a whopping 30%, and that's really because they're facing stiff competition and they've had lots and lots of strike action to deal with over working conditions and workers' pay. The unions have really been holding them to account, and they've just released their 9 months to December year review, and it shows that their revenue grew by 1%, which isn't great in the UK, but overseas their revenue has grown by 11%, which I presume gives them some hope because they're really trying to transform themselves away from just being a letter deliverer to being an international courier, just like some of the other big players that are out there. So that's their plan. But their CEO said that even with that 5-year plan and even with the fact that they're seeing an increase in their overseas sales, it is still going to be tough because if you're 500 years old and you're in the delivery service, really you do rely on letters. And I don't remember the last time you sent a letter, but I haven't sent one for a very, very long time. And they're seeing the decline in people sending letters. Of course, people now prefer to send emails. And of course, being in the UK where they're really pushing towards net zero emissions, people are trying to save on paper. So it's been tough for them. They said they got that 1% growth, and as soon as they announced that and the fact that it's going to continue to decline in falls, their shares again fell this morning by 7%.
Yes, the way the world is going, in maybe 10 years or so down the line, the word letter may just be confined to a thesaurus or an encyclopedia somewhere. Because I didn't get your email, I didn't get your message. And nobody says, I get your letter. Nobody writes letters anymore. Very interesting.
Nobody writes letters.
We might be the last generation to use the word letter and they just put it back in a letter and seal it up somewhere. So is the UK economy red hot right now, based on what the Conservatives say? They're promising that they can run the economy better by 2.75%. Is that likely? Who is believing them?
Well, nobody believes them, really. But, of course, the Conservative government are going to talk the talk, especially because Sajid Javid, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, or the Finance Minister, as he's known around the world, he is getting ready to deliver the Conservative government's first post-Brexit budget next month, and they are excited, and they're trying to excite people by saying they want to, with their plans, increase GDP by 2.75%. We haven't seen that sort of growth in the UK for about 15 years, so most people are saying it's unlikely, and the only way this can be delivered is if we increase productivity in the UK, which is failing because a lot of people are taking productivity out of the UK and putting it onto the mainland continent, or even taking it to China. But, you know, the economy is going somewhere. Last year, growth in the UK was at 1.4%. That's what the estimates are for 2020. 2019 was an abysmal year for global economies across the world. Of course, in Britain, because we had that Brexit uncertainty. But after Boris Johnson's thumping election victory in December, there does appear to have some hope, some resurgence. Business optimism is good. We've got record low unemployment rates. The labour market in the UK has shown numbers that we haven't seen for about 8 months. So there is a sense of optimism, even though the 2.75% that the Chancellor is suggesting may seem, you know, too much for some people. But we had the PMI data yesterday, the service sector, which is a crucial sector to the UK economy, that contributes 80%, and it was well above 50 being the benchmark for a contracting or an expanding economy. So things seem to be OK now. It's just going to be how it unfolds over the next 11 months when, of course, Boris Johnson is going to have a tough battle with Brussels in trying to secure the trade deal of a generation.
OK. Juliana, when you cross over in the afternoon with Chimeze, I'm sure two of you will be talking about the new water bill that will cut your water bill by about £17 a year. So I wish you all the best until then. Will you be drinking more water? Do you need more water in your whirlpool for laundry? How would that affect you, talking about water in the afternoon? Drink some water on top of that. Then you had lunchtime conversation with Chimeze Obiwagu. Thank you so much for being part of Business Morning, Juliana Olayinka. Let's take a break. All our viewers here in Nigeria, in London and elsewhere, we'll be right back.